Good morning, beautiful people. I'm Babz Rawls-Ivy. Welcome to LoveBabz, LoveTalk. It's Monday. Hi, Harry.
Hey, Babz.
This is another view of Harry's workspace. Same room, different view.
Yeah, this was the curtain that was behind me,
Okay.
all the way on the far end of the room.
Okay, so you're on that end of the room.
Now I'm on the other end to the side.
Okay. Does it
So
make everything better?
what you see is, well, I was trying to make it a less ugly look, but I don't know. You got my work stuff there, and my little jukebox there, and printers behind me.
All right. Well, you have a door, you could close it, or you could buy a pretty you could hang a sheet or a sign.
And those are my jerseys in the back over there.
Okay.
But
I don't see any cleaner though. Where's the cleaner? Because I know you keep some cleaner in there somewhere.
I don't know. It's in front of me. It used to be.
All right. I knew it wasn't too far.
I have Clorox wipes, my own little spray here that one part.
His own concoction.
Yeah, one part Clorox water. So yeah, I got my stuff here.
All right. How was your weekend?
It was good. I had my son and my daughter and grandchildren, and everybody was over this weekend. I don't know. They just felt like seeing their parents, I guess.
Yeah. Well, next, this is the week of Thanksgiving. Are they coming over again?
Yeah, they'll be here Thursday. Yeah, and Bella was telling me, Papa, I really want to move in with you. She's like, I really want to move in with you. I'm like, yeah, what do your parents say? They don't like the idea. I'm like, okay, that's good.
Well, your parents would be very upset if you moved in. They like to see you too. They want to see you every day. That's what parents do. That's so sweet, Harry. They want to come and live with you. Well, you got all the supplies.
All the supplies. I have all of her favorites ready for when she gets.
So you got everything. I listen. I come live with you too, Karen. Give me some space in there.
Grandpa has all the supplies. I have all the dark chocolate goodies that she could eat and everything ready. So, and then all of her milk. As a matter of fact, they came and they're like, "Why you got so much of Bella's milk there? The coconut milk that you could stack on the shelf. It doesn't need to go in the fridge." So they were shopping. They went and they took the oldest ones with them. I'm like, well, dark winter, folks. They're like, dark winter. I'm like,
they're like, uh-oh, where's the door? Let me get out of here. My father.
I'm like, you know it when it hits.
Well, we had our annual Friendsgiving, Harry. Me, Markeisha, Ife, Sarah. We do this every year. We get together for Thanksgiving kind of celebration. Yeah. And it was very nice. We had some really good food. And it was vegan, Harry. So it was nice. Let me see if I could get a picture.
Did you have anything that looked like turkey?
No, there was no hint of any kind of turkey.
No, but that looked like turkey. You didn't dress up.
No.
You didn't dress up an eggplant as a turkey, right?
No. We had I had curry vegetables. I catered. Curry vegetables, make macaroni and cheese, vegan macaroni and cheese, potato salad, And then Markeisha made cabbage, collards, and mushroom pot pies. They were really good. Yeah, so we had, and Sarah brought a cheesecake, a vegan cheesecake from New York. Big, yummy. I had 2 pieces last night. So yes, Harry, vegetables, good for the planet, good for the body, good for the environment, good for your heart, and good for the animals.
And good for the animals. Well, yeah, they eat a vegan diet, don't they?
Yeah, they don't eat each other.
So it's good for the animal, good for us because they're nice and stuffed.
Yeah. So, yes. So we had a good time. We had a really, and flowers, I love flowers, Harry. So Sarah brought more flowers to add to my existing flowers that are, you could tell the ones that are sort of wilting a little bit. But I have another delivery of flowers coming in the next, either today or the next few days. Because I joined Babz, you know.
Well, I'm allergic to all of that, and they usually come with a bug or something inside the flowers.
No, they don't,
So it's
Harry.
like
No, no, they don't.
I'm so predictable.
Harry, what? You just don't want me to be great today, do you?
You know what I'm realizing is that I have to actually put books behind me so I look smarter. I gotta erect a bookshelf back there. So
Here's my books. My books are in my.
I know that's what I'm saying. You look,
And these are CDs behind me. So
when you have books when anybody has books behind them, it's like their IQ goes up while they're speaking, right? Because it's like the books.
really, are you trying to say?
No, I'm not saying that. Look, I'm just saying that I need books.
Are you saying that you are that I'm
I
not?
see so many of our guests with books behind them. You have books behind you. I sh- I should, give the impression that I actually read books.
That's too funny. Too funny.
Or maybe I'll just put a playlist on that door behind me of my Audible books that I listen to. Just a playlist.
All right, why don't you just put you know what? That'd be your thing, a running list of books Harry enjoys. You could do it every I don't know, how fast do you read? Every other week, every 2 weeks?
Book club?
Oh yes. Let's do a book club, Harry. You ready? Can you make a graphic for it? What's the first book we're gonna read, Harry?
I probably spoke too fast.
Well, Harry, you can make a simple graphic. Harry, you make cartoons of us every year for the holidays.
No, we could. Not that I can't do it. I'm just saying I probably committed myself to something I don't want to do is read a book.
Well, you could read or listen. How about that?
Listen, I could do, but
right now I'm listening to Becoming. Thank you very much. I'm enjoying it, Harry. I really enjoy listening to her talk about when she was little.
Obama's new biography.
Yeah, it's a two-parter, Harry. It's another one coming out.
It's 29 hours.
Wow. Are you gonna listen to it or are you gonna read it? Both?
I won't read it. I would have to listen to it. I listened to, Dreams of My Father.
Did he narrate it himself?
Yeah. That's the good part.
Because everybody's not able to like narrate their own books. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
For whatever reasons, they don't do it. I like when people narrate their own books.
It's much better because you get the inflections and everything where it belongs.
Yeah.
You have other people read something that, especially autobiography, it should be the person who wrote it. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna buy. It's 29 hours. I don't know if I can listen to 29 hours. That's a lot.
But he's amazing.
It's a
I
lot.
I could listen to 29 hours. Easy. Listen,
It has to be. It has to grab me.
it will.
You know, he has to in the
I
middle.
was listening to Jimmy Kimmel talk about how he was mesmerized by it. Like he just felt like he was in it when he was reading it. I mean, listening to it.
Oh, okay.
So that's that feeling. So that might be. I think I'm gonna go and get the book. I'm gonna order the book. Yeah, I think I'm gonna order it. I got a bunch of books that I want to order, so I need to get my because the People Get Ready bookstore. I'm such a fan, so I'm gonna get my little list together and email them.
Well,
And I don't need it right away. So if they take their time, Harry, I don't care.
let me see if Audible. Oh, there you go. It's your Christmas gift, Babs.
Oh no, Harry! Seriously,
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Harry, you did not have to do that. I wasn't trying to get you to give me.
No. I got you the Michelle. Let me get you.
Yes, you did. Oh, Harry, that's so nice. I was not looking for you to do that.
That's fine, Babs. I always have too many credits.
Thank you, Harry. That's very kind of you. Oh, now, when dark winter comes, I'm ready.
Oh, look at that.
What?
They have this one I may buy. Smokey Robinson, Smokey Grateful and Blessed Robinson.
Oh, okay. We play Motown music all the time. Well, we can't now, but
Yeah.
I know it's sad.
They
It's okay.
what they do to us. Facebook. Well, it's not. Facebook has to pay if they. So it's moving around the funds, right? So
Mm.
I mean, they can't hit us with a fine. They'll just cancel our account. We don't want to do that.
No, we need our time on this air. Let's see what else is going on, Harry. I didn't watch Jingle Jangle yet. Maybe I'll watch that today
Yeah, I
because
haven't watched that either.
I haven't watched, and I keep seeing people talk about it, Harry. So maybe that's what I'll do today because I don't have any place to go. I'm not going over. I don't have any place to go. So and the apartment is so picked up because I had the magical epic women, the magical women who do epic shit for the weekend. It was nice. So the house was picked up. So I don't really have to pick up my house. So
I
yeah.
didn't. I usually, do a serious vacuuming of the house and mopping of the house in the weekend. I do it through the day, but every day, but a serious one on the weekend. Um,
Wait, you mop every day and then you do a bigger
well,
mop on the weekend?
no. Well, no, I vacuum every day. I don't mop every day unless there's obvious things that need to be mopped. Um, but I skipped it this weekend because first off, the girls were over, so I had apple juice on the floor and everything. I cleaned up those areas, but I figured let me just skip it. I don't want to force everybody onto the sofas while while I'm cleaning. So I skipped it and I figured I'll do it Wednesday, because I have everybody over Thursday. So
Oh, well, all right.
yeah, so
Well,
I'll clean. I'll do my Thanksgiving cleaning Wednesday.
no, this is the Thanksgiving cleaning. If the kids want Thanksgiving, they're gonna have to cook it, which they are plotting and planning to do. So that'll be fine. And then we're doing Markeisha and I, we gather every year to do our Christmas cards, you know, little hot cocoa and Christmas music and Christmas cards.
Yeah, we don't
So
we
so
don't
we're
do
gonna have a brunch for that. We're gonna make it a brunch because I'm dying to make this slow cooked French toast.
slow cooked French toast.
Yeah.
How slow can you cook French toast?
Harry, you put it in a slow cooker.
Yeah, but French toast is pretty quick.
Oh yeah, but you slow cook it. It's like baking a cake, kind of.
And
You know,
it's supposed to be better.
it's yummy, Harry. It's very yummy.
Yeah, I had French toast last week, and I have French toast maybe like once a year.
I love French toast. I
I,
never get it because it's hard for me to have it, so I don't have it places. There's this diner in West Haven and in Guilford that makes vegan French toast.
we went to IHOP, and I used to eat French toast there and everything, but um but we went recently, and it's like it's like it's a shell of its former self. I don't know if it's the COVID times.
Where did you go?
To IHOP,
Oh,
you
I
know,
always well,
you know, to get a breakfast.
yeah. On the weekends, Harry, it'd be like jam packed in there. You have to wait
Yeah, but
outside.
it's like I don't know. It just looked so unpleasant in there. There wasn't as many people,
But they can't
and
have. They could only have so many people anyway.
then the meal was like 70% of what you normally get.
What do you mean?
I don't know if it's the COVID hard times. Like when you got a breakfast sampler where that they put something of everything.
Hmm.
It used to be so huge that I used to be like, oh, wow, I can't eat all of this. And this time it was like they brought exactly what I could eat. Like like this time they didn't want you to leave leftovers.
Oh,
It's like
wow.
yeah,
That's
I was like,
interesting.
wow, I normally leave some breakfast because there's so much, but this time it's like a crackhead breakfast. I don't know if it's hard times. I mean, it probably is for them. I mean, they're squeezed too. They're a franchise,
Hmm.
so I don't know. I don't know.
That's interesting, Harry.
And it wasn't as clean as I would want it to be during COVID
Hmm.
times. Because I got up from the table, I saw their cleaning cart. So I got up, grabbed the Clorox, and sprayed my own table and wiped everything down and the seats because it didn't look clean enough.
Well, they're short staff, Harry. So, do you know what I mean? I mean, they're short staff.
I don't know if they left the cart there intentionally. So I'm like, but thank you, because I was having an issue with my table.
God, the dark side of COVID.
I know.
Harry, are we doing investigative journalism? Is that what we're doing? We're like breaking stories, breaking stories. The dark side
I
of
don't want to
COVID.
criticize because you could tell they were short staffed.
I mean, they got to be short staffed. If they
Yeah,
can't, they can only have a percentage of people in the restaurant.
yeah. So it was like hard times. And I was like, well, I don't think I'm going to enjoy going out during COVID.
Mm.
It's like you rented the place for yourself. I'm like, if I go out, if Harry goes out, is because he wants to be around people.
Oh, shoot.
Because I normally don't like to be around people. But if I go out to do something, it's because I want to be around people. And you have your own corner of the restaurant by yourself. It isn't that clean. It's just,
Oh, you sound like a mobster. I want my usual, sit where I want to sit, my usual space.
and even shopping. You go out to Burlington Coat Factory or stuff like that. And it's like slim pickings. It's like they don't have much of anything.
Hmm.
It's
Well,
like,
I kind of felt that too, Harry. I thought maybe they were in between, because when everything was shut down for a good while, shipment was backed up. So I was thinking maybe they're backed up because of that. Because I went to Home Goods a couple of times, Harry, and it felt threadbare. Do you know what I mean? Like it felt thrifty.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's a store that's like packed of stuff.
it's crazy. I think they're keeping their inventory for online purchases now. It must be
Oh,
because that's where they're making most of their money online. Um, but even Walmart, that I normally do my shopping, I go to the parking spot, they bring my stuff out. I normally don't go into Walmart anymore. But this time when I ordered my toilet paper and stuff, they said they were out of stock with toilet paper and paper towels, right? Well, they brought me paper towels, but they brought me generic. They replaced it with generic versions of what I wanted,
hmm.
which was fine. I'll take whatever, right? But the toilet paper was out. So that was on Friday, no, Thursday. Friday night, we went to get an eye exam at Walmart, at Walmart, eye, whatever. And when I when we finished, I told Karen, "Look, you know what? I'm gonna go check if they had toilet paper because they told me they didn't have toilet paper."
Oh shoot.
So I went to the toilet paper aisle, and sure enough, they had toilet paper. So it was like, wait,
Well,
so
maybe they didn't have it when at the time when they was making your run.
I don't know, but so I grabbed two, and there was a stock person there. And they told me just one. You can only have just one. I'm like, so you guys are going to that limit, one per customer, and they're like, he's like, yeah, those are the rules. So when I got to the register, there was a lady buying two. So yeah, I didn't want to blow up her spot because they were allowing her to buy it. But I was so upset that some employees are following rules and other employees aren't.
Although you don't know if she was with somebody and that was somebody else's toilet paper with her.
It was hers, just hers. She was the only one on the line.
Yeah, but she might have been the only one in the line, but whoever she bought it for might be waiting in the car or went to get the car. Because I
That's
do that with my sister
that's
sometimes.
the
Like,
excuse you make, right?
no, that's not it happens like that. I'm not willing to assume the worst.
Well, I was assuming the worst.
You were, Harry.
I
You
was
were
thinking to
judging
myself,
her.
I was thinking to myself, they don't like me. They don't want me to have my allotment of toilet paper. So, but yeah, so they are going to those restrictions. So everybody, and they had toilet paper, but it wasn't like their shelves were fully stocked. So
They might have just gotten it in.
yeah. So anyway, but
I'm trying to stop you from having a beef with them. Because they listening and they're gonna know you when you come in here. Or when you make your order, they'll be like, that radio guy.
they're like, wait a minute, he's ordered 2 packs of toilet paper for the last 4 weeks. He can't be using all this toilet paper.
They're gonna start tracking you, Harry. They're gonna start Harry, they're already tracking you. They're already monitoring us. We already on somebody's back channel.
They're gonna put me on a hoarder list.
Yeah, you gotta go by yourself. I'm not a hoarder. Is it raining in Waterbury? Because it's raining in the Elm.
Yeah, the sky was falling a while ago.
Yeah, that's why I'm not leaving my house today. When I get off here, Harry, I'm gonna go back and take a nap. I have things that I could be doing. I'm not going to do them. I have to sleep off some of this edible. I'm telling you, Harry, edibles take away all the pain.
I got this ointment. I think it's an ointment, a
Yeah,
gel.
I'm talking THC edibles. Not
Right.
the
Uh,
hemp. The hemp. I think the hemp works well. The hemp doesn't take away all the pain the way the THC does.
right. And that's the thing about that's why legalizing stuff for medication is the right thing to do all over the country because
Understand why they don't do it for this marijuana thing, Harry. This makes so much sense. But
yeah,
they want to write you a prescription for narcotics.
I know the opioids are much worse.
And they're
Uh,
bad on your body. Pot is not bad on your body.
100 times worse, and cannabis is actually helps your body heal. So they're two totally different things.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. I think it's just the pharmaceutical lobby companies who have so much influence in all
Like
of
the gun people. The
yeah,
same. You're right, Harry. You're right. But yesterday I was just like, I had a couple of edibles and I was like, this works better and faster than the stupid opioids that they give me. Just
yep,
saying.
and it's a different type of high. Um, it's just totally different. I mean, because you've taken it, I've taken opioids. Um,
I don't
that
like the opioids.
and that high that the opioids give you is just so it's mentally restricting. It
I just
just
don't like it.
yeah, it makes me feel horrible.
It does, Harry. And you know what? And it makes you very constipated. I have to take meds to fight the constipation. You
Yeah.
don't get that with marijuana. There's no constipation with marijuana.
Actually, people use marijuana for IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. So there you go. I mean,
I'm
it,
like, you would rather have people doped up on oxycodone and Baluka and all these opioids, and you worrying about people getting high off pot? Like, really?
the thing is talking about high is where people go, oh, so it's a narcotic or whatever. But you get a high with the opioids. It's just a totally different,
Yeah.
horrible type.
That's why those drug addicts like it.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's why, because people use it, they want to forget everything. I don't want to forget anything.
I never do forget anything, Harry.
Yeah, but
So
when you're overdosing on opioids, your mind is in a knot sometimes.
no, I'm not there. I mean, I'm not overdosing. Like,
I mean, for me, taking my prescription was overdosing because it had me so twisted up that I was hallucinating.
well, I'm not hallucinating, but I don't like I just don't like the feeling of it. That's why I only take it at night. Like I only take it
Yeah.
for bedtime. But I could take the edibles at any time. I don't know if I could like drive my car. Like I don't think I would drive
No, that's
with
not
the
a good idea.
edibles. No, I'm not doing that. Not because I feel it just calms you so far down that
No, it's not a
driving
good
is the
idea.
least thing you want to do.
I took edibles and I got to where I was going, but I didn't know how I got there. So that's not a good idea.
No, I'm not going with that, Harry.
I had to actually, once I got to where I was going, I had to, well, it was to get an MRI. So when I got into the MRI machine, I fell asleep. So for the 40 minutes that I was in that MRI machine, I was asleep. I was knocked out. They had to wake me up. They told me, we let you sleep a little longer, but we have another patient behind you. I was like, oh my God, I fell asleep. They're like, you were snoring. She was like, I could almost hear you snore over the so I was out. And then when
You're
I got
good, Harry. I can't sleep in places like that.
no, but I had an edible, so
Oh yeah. You have no
totally
choice.
knocked me out. So that's what I'm saying. I drove there. fell asleep on the machine, and then when I got out, I was still under the influence where I was sleeping. So I had to sleep in my car for another half hour before I
So
could.
why don't you take edibles at night, Harry? That'll help you sleep.
Um, you see, I'm a lightweight. Anything I do at night, in the morning, I'm so sluggish. I'm like really. It's like it takes me. It takes me an extra 40 minutes to actually wake up. So it's hard. I mean, it does help me sleep, but it knocks me out.
Well, yeah. So what you have to do is probably take it at like 6 o'clock in the evening, like after dinner.
Start early,
Yeah.
but then I'm asleep early. It's.
Yeah. Well, so what? What the hell? We in COVID. You're not going anywhere. Go to hell to sleep.
I know, but
No, I don't know.
I like to sleep late. I like
Well,
to.
well, you don't like wellness then, because take your edible early, get into bed and go to sleep, and then see how you. That way, you get up in the morning. If you need extra time, you take it, and then you can start figuring out what time works for you. Like, then maybe you could start going to bed later if you figure out how to like take the edible and get the time you need on the other end when you wake up.
Yeah.
Just saying. I'm just trying to help you out, Harry.
Help me help you.
Help you. Because that's it.
Betsy Kim. You remember Betsy?
Yeah, Betsy Kim is good people. I'm her friend on Facebook.
Yeah, she's doing her show again. She like maybe once a month.
Good.
So she's still. I'm looking at an email that just came up, and all she could talk about is our conversations and how she loves our conversations. I'm like, we're just talking. I don't understand why people like our conversations.
It's a good conversation.
She's like, I love your New York accent. I can't shake this. I've been in
Oh,
Connecticut.
you can't, Harry. Forget it.
Yeah, I've been in Connecticut like 32 years, and I still can't shake the New York
Can't
accent.
shake it. Nope. That's just what it is. Well, I love Betsy Kim. I follow her on Facebook. She has a very interesting life. She's always at the coolest of coolest things. So, and I'm glad she's gonna do her show. I listen in.
Yeah, she has tomorrow at 11.
Okay. Is it live or she
Yeah,
records?
live.
Oh, then I'll try to listen to her.
Yeah, she's
Get off my show.
she's
She's right
learning,
behind me.
yeah, she's learning Italian. So her show this week is Can Learning Italian, I think, learn save the world or something like that. I don't know. Something like that.
I tell her I said yes.
And I think she has two people from Italy or something coming, being on the show tomorrow. So should be interesting. I saw an email where they started the email in Italian and then transitioned to English. Yeah, too much for me.
Really?
Too much for me.
What do you mean too much for you?
Well, first off, I don't like to answer emails. So when we get 3 or 4 emails deep, I'm like done.
Okay, Harry. Okay, Daisy, big Daisy.
Oh, that's right, done.
That is too funny, Harry. But all right, okay.
Karen. Every time she opens my laptop, the email, because we have our emails in the same Outlook. She looks at my emails and she's like, "You got 14,000 emails that you haven't deleted." She's like, and she's like, most of them are unread. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, how could you do this? Why would you? And I'm like, do you want to go through my emails? And she's like, do I look like your secretary? Do your own. There you go. See?
I'm
Hope,
not, that's
hope,
why. Sorry, Karen. I gotta be with Harry on this one because I have the same
I hope
deal.
parents listening.
Just this one time, Karen. Just this one time, Karen. I'm with Harry.
I'm
The
like,
email number.
I don't know. I don't understand why people email me anyway.
Well, I actually answer some of my email, Harry, but I got so many emails that I get behind. So
Yeah. So if I recognize the person, I'll read the first maybe
what are you doing? Are you
something
throwing stuff? It sounds like you dragged something, like something.
something just fell,
Yeah, I heard
but I don't see what.
it. Oh shoot, the Russians, Harry, they got you.
You heard it though, right?
Yeah, I heard it.
There's nothing on the floor.
Oh, well, maybe something underneath.
Anyway, no. So I'll listen to I'll read the first two maybe from the people I know.
Mm-hmm.
But once it starts getting into reply, and everybody and questions, I just ignore. Can't do it. I'm like, you should have put everything in the first email. Don't go 5 emails deep. Put everything in the first email if you want me to read it.
Let me keep that in mind. You know what? We need to get Paul. We need to do a virtual NHI. We need a virtual party.
You know, I was actually thinking of that because we normally have our Thanksgiving party tomorrow.
Yeah. So we need to gather. We need a virtual party. Paul and Norma. We need a virtual party. I don't think Norma listens to me, but she doesn't listen to the station, does she? Is it on in the office?
Well,
I know Paul periodically listens. Paul, we need a party virtually.
Paul tunes in when you have guests
Yeah, that's true.
because he's gonna do a story on it every time.
They did one on Susan Beisowitz. You know, when she came, we just talked about girl stuff, shopping. I know people were like, this is what I have to tell people, Harry. I have to remind people, I'm not a journalist. I'm not. Markeisha Ricks is a journalist. Paul Bass is a journalist.
Yeah, but you're a good interviewer.
All right, but my point is that sometimes, Harry, if I get the lieutenant governor on air, we're gonna talk about girl stuff. We're
Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
just gonna do girl stuff, Harry. It's not gonna be, oh, tell me about the budget, or why can't we have this, that, the other thing. Sorry.
No, and I've learned. You know, Susan grew on me, right?
Oh, wait a minute, 1 second. I got it. We got a text from Paul.
Mr. Bass. So he is listening.
He is listening. All right, Harry, we got to throw a virtual party. Let's pick a day.
Virtual party, but
A Zoom party.
I guess let me know what time.
Okay.
I'll set up the Zoom.
All right. Let's look at a calendar day. But what were you saying?
No, so Susan kind of grew on me, right? I thought she was very very issue oriented, right? That you only saw her, but her personality grew on me. I think she'll make a wonderful governor. When
this is my take on her. Here's the thing with Susan Beisowitz for me. I bet you 9 times out of 10 she's probably the smartest person in the room.
Yep.
And I think she has learned in her life how to downplay, how to make her smartness and intelligence okay for people. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think she walks into the room knowing that she's the smartest one, but she's like, I can't show up as the smartest one. So I gotta, not that she shows up as the stupid one. No, she never does that. But I don't think we get her real brilliance in everyday practical kinds of things because she's got to deal with egos and testosterone and people, because people resent smart women. They do. They just resent smart women. Nobody knows this more than black women, but smart white women are not respected either.
Yeah.
So I can tell when she walks into a room, she's got to count to 10 and be like, all right, I'm in the room with some ass hats. Let me not remind them how smart I am. Just you know, let me use my smartness to corral them. I just feel like that.
No, definitely. I mean, and it does takes some practice. Like when I worked at the Chamber of Commerce, the Greater New Haven Chamber, that I was their system administrator. We used to have these meetings because we used to throw all these events
I
and
still throw them, Harry.
yeah, the business after hours, all of that stuff. The annual meetings and all that. So I used to do all the technical stuff. And we used to have these meetings that I always felt wasted my time, right? So I used to sit in the meeting, and at the end of the meeting, my supervisor would come to me and say, can I ask you to not look at us like we're stupid? And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, we ask a question and you always look at us like we're stupid for asking it. And I was like, huh.
Oh, that's her problem.
Well, I didn't know I was doing that. I mean, Karen always says I say everything with my face. I
Well,
don't
they
have,
probably were stupid, Harry. So, but
well,
anyway.
right. So for me, it's just like emails, right? I'm cool with you asking once, twice, maybe three times. But when I'm having a meeting every week on the same issue and it's week number 52, I just think you're stupid. So it's hard for it not to come out on my face. So but I used to always have these meetings and it's like
Or you'd have a hard time. You'd get thrown out of the White House press briefings.
I'd be like, or the meetings used to be like how I
They'd
was
be like, "Do you work for CNN? Because you look like you work for CNN. Get out."
be like, how are we gonna fix this problem? I'm like, it's not a problem if you follow the system.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Not a
yeah,
problem if you follow the directions.
yeah.
Speaking of movies, Harry,
Oh, I saw a good movie this weekend.
what you see?
Apocalypto. I don't know if you remember that movie. It's about the Mayans.
Oh, yes. I didn't want to watch that. Was it good? Is it fiction or is it a documentary?
No, it's not a documentary. It's
Oh, it's like a movie.
yeah, loosely based.
Oh,
Um
so they got some whole bunch of lies.
loosely based Mel Gibson
Oh, hell.
movie
Oh,
about
that's right. That movie didn't do too well because right here just came out. He was still being punished for calling black people niggers, right? Or his girlfriend's ex
well,
boy or some old mess.
that and calling the Jewish people names too.
Oh yeah,
Um
he's not Jewish.
no.
Oh,
No, he
guess
thinks
not.
he hates them because well, I
Oh,
shouldn't say
that's right. He was hating Jews and he was hating on blacks.
yeah,
Oh no.
allegedly. I'm not gonna say nothing, don't sue me.
All right.
But allegedly
All right. Yeah.
he hated them because they killed Christ or something. I don't know. Too much. Religion
I'm
is too
sorry.
much
I'm
sometimes.
sorry. People forget that Christ was Jewish. He
Uh,
wasn't. He
yeah,
wasn't a Christian.
yeah.
That would come after. He was Jewish, and he wasn't trying to create a new religion. He was just trying to get these clowns to like get on one page. Oh, be kinder and gentler. But all right.
No, anyway, so yeah, Mel Gibson has issues. I think he
But
does like every 5 years he gets pulled over
meltdown.
and gets racist.
I think well, I brought up the films, Harry, because Wonder Woman 1984, they're gonna release it in the
Straight to
they're gonna stream it and at the theater. Like some theaters will get it, but the majority of it's going to be on. Because Walt Disney made a lot of money doing that damn. Um,
Mulan.
yeah, even though people didn't really love it, it made a lot of money for them. So now people are like, listen, you gotta stream my stuff because ain't nobody going to the movie theaters.
That's
Or
the thing.
you can't go to movie theaters. You just can't. So
Or you can rent them out. You can rent them out, but you gotta have your friends spaced out in the theater so you can't talk to each other. But
yeah, that's not
oh,
that might as well just bring everybody to my house.
oh, there's limits there too, Babs.
Well, I mean, I only rolling with my pod, Harry. Like, there's no new people in my pod. Like, you know who I hang out with? Ife, Markeisha, Sarah, Raven, sometimes. That's it.
Yeah, I mean,
And then my kids. And it's really just my daughters because my sons, I don't see them every day.
see, Karen and I were looking at a lot of when we went out this weekend, we're looking at people who are not really following any
No, they're
protocol,
not. They're
right?
just,
So,
and you just
but
want to
it's
slap the
hard.
shit out.
It's
I mean,
hard.
you just want to slap them.
Yeah, but it's hard to judge them, right? Because I was thinking to myself, all right, yeah, they're not following protocols, but I let my grandchildren into my house whenever they want to, right? So, and my kids into my house whenever they want. You have other people, and I know Paul hadn't seen his grandchild in like forever because of COVID. Um, so you have other people who are following these restrictions really strict, and I follow them when I go out, but in my home, I'm still allowing the
Yeah,
people.
but that's fine, Harry. You're allowing those people. They're not new people. You don't got a new son-in-law and a new daughter-in-law. It's the same people that have always come to your house. So they're not new. What the problem is, if they would have brought their friends, every time they come, Harry, they bring in a new set of friends that you don't get to know. That's what you can't do. You can see the people that you normally see in your everyday practical life. That's not the problem. The problem is people want to gather with other people and their friends and their friends and their friends. So you can't do that. You get your pod tight. You just you have your family pod. There's no new people coming into that circle.
Yeah, like last week, I went to see my mother.
A million people flew this weekend, Harry. Which the airlines should take some hit for that. They should not be flying. I don't give a damn. A million people flew across the country, Harry. That means people are bringing that this virus is riding with you. Just
See,
saying.
that's the question about the airlines, right? Because I was listening to an airline rep talking about their HEPA filters and all of these things that their planes are safe. But haven't we always known that there's just not enough circulation
Yes.
in these planes that if somebody coughs in the first row, you get it in the last row?
Yeah.
So it's a mixed message that I don't like.
Well,
Because
listen, I know this is I don't want to have a political conversation, but if America would have gotten behind this and had one unifying message at the very beginning, we'd have something we could keep pushing. But when you have a president who insisted on calling it not what it is, and then Harry, I watched that poor nurse on a Nightline the other night. She had patients who did not believe this was COVID and was saying to her, "Don't. Why are you treating me for COVID when it doesn't exist? You're doing experiments. You're doing." She was like, "These people are really, really sick." She's like, "They are sick." And more than likely, when they get to her, they're not going home. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you see this particular nurse, you ain't going home. And she said it broke her heart that these people, with their last breath, died with that thinking. I don't think America Until people are willing to be concerned about their neighbors, Harry, people have to be concerned about their neighbors. We're not gonna get rid of this thing until everybody says, "I'm for my neighbor."
Well, this weekend, Fauci was talking about the vaccines and
And the
achieve.
people already protesting them.
Well, you're right. Yeah, they are. And he said in order to achieve, which was interesting because I know the talk about herd immunity was taboo, and
Well, it
now
is because we don't because people talk about herd immunity. In
no, I know, but Fauci was talking about it this weekend,
I watched him. Well, okay, go ahead, Harry,
and
because
he
I don't
talked
think he
about
said that.
achieving herd immunity with the vaccine, and he said, but if only 40% of America takes the vaccine, we won't be able to achieve it.
I don't
Um,
think I don't think he's I don't remember hearing that. If that was said, that would have been a news that would have been in the news cycle because people don't understand. I don't think he would have used herd immunity. Well, maybe. I don't know, Harry. Well, listen, this is how I know. We could give we can give people the tools, but we cannot make them use the tools. That's my point. He might be. We're not going to get to you. So you say he said we won't get to herd immunity because of people and their stupidity.
well, he said if not enough of us take the vaccine, we won't be able to achieve it. Um, and it's a real worry, right? So here goes right here, Babs.
Mm-hmm. I know that's CBS.
So, but he was actually talking about it this weekend. This 12 hours ago. Um, so the thing is that right now you do have, like you were just saying, that there are people protesting the vaccine. Uh, um, about I think over 50% of the people say they're not going to take it. So saying you're not going to take the vaccine is actually saying you want to keep COVID around.
Hmm. So, so Dr. Fauci was describing how vaccines work. That's different from suggesting the vaccine, the coronavirus, doesn't really exist. And we should let
Absolutely,
an
no,
extra 50 million people die to achieve impossible from herd immunity. He's not
absolutely.
talking about killing anyone. Yeah,
I think I
I
think
knew that.
I think Babs will welcome you as a guest, Paul, but I didn't say that. If you think just
I
like
think here's my problem with this is that we have to decide if we care about our neighbors. We have to care about each other. That's my point. That we have to care about each other. And if people feel like wearing a mask tramples on their civil rights, well, then I could say you not wearing a mask tramples on my right to be alive.
yeah,
We get in a car, you can't take a baby out of the hospital without a car seat. There was a time when you could take a baby out of a car out of a hospital. There was no seatbelts in cars
yeah. Mother was sitting in the back seat
or the front seat.
or the front seat with the baby.
Children were just now mandated to sit in the back seat in the last what 30 years.
Well, that's because of the airbags, right? That when airbags initially came out, it actually took off a couple of heads in the front seat
Well, yeah, okay.
because people were putting their kids in the front seat, and when the airbag bag popped out, but yeah, I mean,
So people, I gotta know saying, don't tread on me, Harry. in parentheses, don't mask on me.
From who?
Somebody in New Jersey.
Well, here's the thing. I get it. Being American is being free to be stupid, but you don't have to be stupid. So
But there's so many things that we already are mandated to do that we do. I mean, you cannot walk into a restaurant in your bare feet, right? Like they have requirements or codes around what is acceptable in public spaces, Harry. You
see,
cannot go into the grocery store barefoot or with no shirt on. You
I
just
think
can't
the
do it.
biggest problem people have with all of these restrictions is that you have some people going, overboard with it. This is Harry Droz, and you're listening to WNHHLP 103.5 FM, New Haven. Like California closed churches again, but
Mhm.
but strip clubs are open. So that's the thing. It's just being even handed. Um, but we each place has its own rules, different rules, and that's the part of
Well,
the.
listen, churches are listen. I understand the pushback from businesses because businesses feel some kind of way. I'm not saying they should be open, but you're messing with some. That's a whole other thing. Uh, Churches, by as a rule, don't make money like that. They're not a business. They are a nonprofit entity, and if that's a way that we can push back to keep people home, then they can't go to church. Strip clubs, businesses, those kinds of things. I think that's a separate fight. That's a different kind of fight.
Well,
'Cause this
the
is,
pro
I mean,
to go with the no, don't tread on me thing. The problem is that religion is a constitutional right. Having a strip club isn't a
that's
constitutional
true.
right.
I hear you on that. I do, but I'm telling you, it's businesses that are pushing back because if they go down, what happens? I mean, that's their livelihood, that's their income. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I feel that. I feel it. I
I
mean,
mean, I hear those people in New York when they were like, "You're gonna close down the schools, but you're not gonna close down the restaurants and the bars and the da da da."
yeah,
Listen, I can't control the businesses like that. I can't control the schools. We're gonna shut the schools down.
right. But that's another thing, right? So you have. It's not like those businesses don't have employees that actually have those kids that need to go to those schools in order for those employees to show up to work.
Right. I mean,
So
I don't know if there's an easy answer. I do think, listen, you get to make a choice whether or not you go to a strip club or a restaurant. You decide that. So if you want free will, you leave them open. You're like, you tell people, listen, we don't want you going to these places, but we're not going to shut them down. But if you go at your own risk.
yeah, it's such a mixed bag here that uh, and
It's
I feel for
hard.
those people because
And school closings is about childcare, Harry. Because just what you were saying. Yeah, you these businesses want to be open, but their employees are the parents of these kids. The schools are closed. So parents have to make a decision. Do I stay home because I can't go to work because I can't leave my kids home? Because we frown on that. You can't, there's like, so the pandemic is such that you can't leave them anywhere. So,
that's true, right? You can't just drop them off at grandma's house because you're trying to protect grandma.
right,
So
right.
it's so horrible.
And you can't have the kid next door come babysit, right? I mean,
It's a
it's a bad situation.
dark winter, Babz.
So guess what, Harry? The poorest of the poor have what kind of jobs that require them to be on the front lines? They require them to be on the front lines. The housekeeping crew of the hospital, the people that prepare the foods, you know, those the people, the sanitation people, you know, these people have to be on the front lines.
Yep.
But they're not like you and I, we can work from home. The privilege of being able to run a whole radio station from home.
I know is and that is the. I mean, when you think about it, how many? I wonder what percentage of America is actually able to work from home.
Oh, I don't, I think that's like
Yeah, I think
oh, way under a percentage.
probably like 30%, right? I
I
mean,
don't know. Take a look, do a search.
because it's crazy when you think about everything, and also all these businesses are discovering that maybe they don't need to have a huge building or rent 2 floors out in some place.
Less than
So how
25%.
look at that. So imagine all of these buildings are figuring out that half of their employees or maybe 80% of their employees could work from home. So that's going to affect real estate, right? When we eventually go back, because businesses are going to be more efficient.
Yeah. All those places that didn't want their employees working from home, Harry, they was like, you know, these women who were like, can I work from home? I want to nurse my baby or that kind of thing. Or I just had a baby, can I work from home? And these businesses were like, no, 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 morale. We need to, you have to come to work and blah, blah, blah. Now everybody's working from remote locations
Right. And most people are working harder, longer hours from home.
because people think because you're home, Harry, that they can access you 24 hours a day. That's the other part of this foolishness. Like there's no break. Before, if you commuted, you'd have a break from when you left your office to your front door. Now now your whole house is your office.
Yeah.
Wherever you can find some space to sit with Wi-Fi, that's your office.
Yeah. What I do is I leave my phone on my stand here. Right. So I just leave it right on my desk on my stand.
Mm.
And if I don't get a text, I just don't get a text.
What
I
does that
can't
mean?
see it.
You
I
can't.
can't see it downstairs. Right. So I go, well, first off, I'm done. like Daisy. So
Yeah, because you could be working 24 hours.
yeah. So if the phone is right next to me, I see everything coming in, all the questions. So I just leave it upstairs.
Yeah. Like when I'm off, I'm off.
Yeah. I have a second phone that's not connected to anything. It's just for me to game, play games on. That's the one I have downstairs. My other phone I leave up here, and Karen could call me on the other phone if she needs me. So it's not that I'm ignoring anybody. It's just that my phone isn't within reach. Just for anybody, oh, Harry's ignoring me. No, the phone is just out of my reach. It's on another level.
Okay. My sister is a she works in development, workforce development on a like national level. A Gallup poll conducted from March to April found that 57% of workers have been offered remote work options by their employers, and that 62% of employed Americans have worked from home during the crisis. Workforce development.
That's cool. Now I wonder how many what percentage of those employees are gonna be forced to go back to work. And
Like a physical place.
right.
Well, now I'm getting the sense, Harry, that some places are starting to rethink. Maybe we don't maybe we don't rent office space anymore.
Right.
Maybe I budget in for people to have like membership to like co-working spaces if they have to get out of their house, or I reimburse them what it costs to use that same amount of whatever in their house, like if they create a home office. Do you know what I mean? Like people are starting to think creatively about how to do that, which I think is amazing because honestly, the biggest drain on global warming, the biggest problem is not cars, Harry, it's buildings. It's buildings being built. That's the biggest problem to the environment. So if we can stop that,
Well, and talking about cars, right? So I was listening to a financial guy on the radio, and he was saying that people should call the insurance companies and adjust their insurance rate, because if you're no longer driving to work, then your insurance should go down. If
mhm.
if your office is your house, you're no longer taking the risk of getting to work. So your insurance actually your cost actually should drop. So so that's
Okay, that
advice I
might be hmm, that might be worth a look see, Harry. And
yeah,
I don't drive my car anymore. I'm so
right.
I'm kind of glad about that, only because it was always a challenge trying to find parking and the tickets and all that other kind of foolishness that I've gotten um, prior to that.
I got to go into the office this week just to do some holiday work stuff.
Oh,
So because we're gonna have this long weekend, so for everybody who
yeah.
doesn't,
When are you shutting us down, Harry? What day you want us to shut down?
Wednesday,
That's
I'm,
my last show.
yeah, we're still working Wednesday, but Thursday and Friday we're off.
Okay.
Back Monday.
Okay.
Um, so I just got to do some stuff to make sure the station stays up.
And how are we doing otherwise? Like, how is the station doing? Is our readership up? Like, what does it look like from now than when we first got started? Do we have those kinds of numbers? I know more people listen to us, or watch us,
Yeah,
or
more people
watch and
watch
listen to
us.
us.
More
Because
people watch and listen. Most of the people are listening to us online.
yes, because I've gotten so many. Somebody found me doing the show. Like somebody found me doing the show. They needed some information, and they found me. It was just the weirdest way they put it. The way it all worked out. Anyway.
This past Friday, Preston, his show Behind the Brand,
Uh huh.
he had a producer guy who has done a lot of music for Showtime, HBO, and all that stuff on. And pre-show, how I go in and I tell them, what's gonna happen, 30 seconds and all this. He goes, "Hey, is that Harry?" He's like, "Wow." He's like, "I'm seeing Harry Droz. I've heard so much about you, but now I'm actually putting eyes on you." I was like,
Oh my god.
I didn't ask him if he was hearing good things about me, but
Mm.
he's heard so much about me.
Listen, they people stop me all the time. It was like, what is Harry like? And those are the ones that hadn't heard your show. So, and then after they hear your show, Babz, why do you have Harry on? Like they're like mad at me for having you on, and da, 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 da. I was like, let me tell you something. And I say this all the time. Harry is my guy. I don't care if even if Harry is wrong, Harry is right.
Well, they're not ever gonna see my show again.
Why?
I have to reinvent Harry.
Oh yeah, now you got to reinvent because y'all are your peoples is no longer in office.
Yeah, well, and also I'm not sure if I want to do that type of show anymore. So
I know, isn't it funny how we are all sort of reimagining what we were doing?
yeah, I'm exhausted with
Yeah,
politics right now.
yeah, I think you're right. And
But
I didn't understand that
I've been
why Paul didn't
exhausted.
want to do his show anymore. And then I realized I understand it.
Yeah, and I've been exhausted for like the last 6 months, right? So, um, and also, I realized, I realized that I was having conversations with family members that I hadn't spoken to in years, right? But the conversations we were having were unpleasant because of politics.
Mm.
So it was like, okay, I haven't spoken to my uncle in 5 years.
And this is a conversation? No.
And this is the conversation we're having where he's upset with me
Because
because
of
I
my
don't
views. Yes.
think like he thinks. Um yeah, I'm just tired. I'm tired of it. I don't want to have to explain my freedom of thought, freedom of speech. So kind of, in the brilliant words of Daisy Lynn,
I'm done.
done. I'm done. I'm still gonna have my opinion, you know.
I'm done. No, that's fine, Harry. And I get it because I'm so glad that when I started this show and Paul didn't say, I want you to just do news, I just want you to do whatever. I'd be hard pressed if I just had to do news or political stuff because I enjoy that stuff, Harry, but that's not all I want to talk about. So I'm so glad that we didn't make this show something like, we can move in any direction. I could talk to artists and news people and children and all kinds of, like, the show is really a variety show. I don't have to always talk to intellectuals. I don't always have to talk to athletes or whatever. I talk to whoever I want to talk to. I think that's what makes this so exciting for me, is that I don't have to stay, like, I could do a whole show. I could do weeks on weeks without doing any political anything, Harry. Like, we never have to talk to politicians at all. We could do a week of clowns, Harry. You want to have some clowns on? Like, why do clowns clown?
And I'm listening downstairs. My Alexa's having a conversation with herself.
Oh, okay. You might want to look into that, Harry.
You, one Alexa's talking to the other downstairs.
Harry, we know how this is going to go, Harry. This is how Skynet starts, right? This is
Yeah,
Skynet stuff. When
I
we
think.
start seeing all the Wi-Fi providers, Harry, buy each other out. I mean, we're seeing it on the phone level, right? When you start
Well,
seeing it on the Wi-Fi tip,
yeah, my Alexa just turned on the lights downstairs.
you might want to get out that house.
So, and I heard it one command the other. So
Harry,
that's weird.
Terminator.
That's
We
weird.
we always talk about, Harry. This is the beginning of Skynet. This is Skynet. This is artificial. Will Smith's artificial intelligence movie, and all the Terminator movies, and then you throw in all the end of the world movies, and then like a couple of the good Godzilla movies. Harry, we need a Godzilla. That's what we need. We need like a alien monster from another planet. Like, that would set off 2020, right?
No, that would close 2020. You know what? If a spaceship comes out of the sky, just hovers there, so that right in front of the White House, that'll be perfect. That'll be a perfect ending to 2020.
What do we do, Harry? What do we do? You're gonna get this country. You're gonna get people. Well, you know what? It'll give people something else to fight about. It's a great way to unite the country. Because this country is a warring country. They love a good fight. Uh,
Yeah, that would be the way to.
and so if you can give Americans somebody to fight, like a real alien.
Right.
Yeah.
Give the world something to fight. Humans against something
Now,
else.
never mind that the aliens might be doing a 911. We don't care about that.
Well, right. Who cares? Who cares? They're in our
It's a
airspace.
911. Oh, we didn't realize it was a 911. We just thought aliens. Just
They're
kill
in
it.
our airspace. We gotta shoot.
Like we shoot to kill. Ask questions later.
Be like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. Anybody who could travel light years could probably get rid of you quickly.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah. No. That would be. That's what I'm waiting. I'm holding out for, Harry. Somebody got to give me a monster, an alien monster. Yep. Oh, so Ife said alien monster or Godzilla to get 45 to move out the White House.
Well, that's one way to do it, right? He's walking out the White House and a spaceship comes and grabs him, snatches him.
Do we want that though?
Maybe he's not from this world, right? So
His, his people comes back for him.
yeah, maybe they're gonna beam him up.
I don't think he wants to be. I don't think he want to go out in handcuffs and chains. He's too old for that. Like he's an old man. He can't go out like that. Let me see which. I tell you what, Harry. Let's figure out which which Trump kid leaves the country first.
Nah, they ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, because they don't really do well outside of New York.
They're probably
They don't do well outside of New York and Florida, Harry.
they're probably gonna start their own television company. They're gonna be
That
the
could fail.
new Fox
They're
News.
fail. No, they're not gonna. They're not gonna do that. Dude, watch that mess.
Well, 73 million people voted for him.
Yeah, but that's that. 73 million people voted Harry. That does not translate into. He'd have to put our foolishness. He'd have to do worse than Fox News. Like he'd have to do that 24 hours a day. 73 million. You're right. I mean,
Populism.
uh they cannot look at that. Do you know what I mean? Like McCullen and them, they got to be like, okay, he's nothing to sneeze at. We don't like him, and we're hoping he goes to jail, but we got to extract those 70 million people.
Well, just think about that, right? There's no other candidate that's gotten as many votes as Trump, except for Biden, who won.
Yeah. Well,
So
that's what I mean. The Republicans gonna have a hard. They have to. I know that they find this president distasteful. You could see it from the beginning of the. Donald Trump has been running for running for president a couple of times. You go back and play these old tapes, recordings of them, each of them saying these I mean, they were dead on disparaging things, even up until before he became the nominee. Because what they don't understand is Trump was prepared to do what they were not prepared to do, is cross all the lines and across all the boundaries. I don't think nobody in that Republican Party who is sane is willing to cross those boundaries like the way that Trump would. They're not going to do it, Harry. They're not going to play with race that way. They're not going to do race baiting. They're not going to do it. They like a Donald Trump because he'll do it and they can follow along. But I don't think there's anybody else that's willing to do that in that party. That takes a lot of, you've got to be willing. That's an all or nothing gamble, right? Mitt Romney is not going to do that. He's not going to get up there and call black people nigger. He's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. You got to find ones that will do that. He's not doing that. You've got to find one that have no regard for women. They're not going to do it. So,
well, the thing is how do you shake Trump off, right? He's gotten more people voting for the Republican Party than has ever been. So how do you, if you're the Republican Party, how do you shake Trumpism off of your?
They got to go back to. Well, you know what? This is their playbook is what is happening right now. Except they didn't want it to happen like this. They want to be controlled, but they wanted somebody in control who was not this guy. So how do they get back to where they were trying to go without getting into the mud? I think I don't think they'll be able to do it unless they are willing to sacrifice decades of elections to recommit to another plan and to weed out all the dummies in their party. They got to weed that out. If they're not willing to do that, they're never going to have they're always going to be up against these kinds of candidates who will play that race card, the poverty card, who will do all of that, who is more about being divisive than about bringing people together. So they got to figure out what they want to be. And if this is what they want to be, because I'm convinced Donald Trump wants to see some kind of race civil unrest happen. Everything is leading up to that. Everything. And if that's the direction that this country is going in, I mean, it undoes all the civil rights gains and all the things that we were trying to move toward. White folks are very emboldened right now, and I'm just afraid that the inflammatory language is just going to keep inciting. Now that you're starting to figure out, you can go into these Black cities and communities and start saying voter fraud, voter fraud things. When they start feeling like they can start marching into these communities, with their guns, that's my fear, right? Because these folks are not going to, we're not going to back down. And I mean we collectively, as in Black people. You're not going to march in Detroit and have Detroit people just sit down on the sidewalk and let y'all march in your white racist stuff. That's just not going to happen, So that's my fear. But I do think they gotta weed this out. They gotta refute it. They gotta. Otherwise.
But here's the thing. Here are the obstacles, right? So Trump got more of the non-white vote than any Republican has ever got in the history of voting. So there were more non-white voters for Trump.
There wasn't more. The numbers just got a little higher. It's 12% of African American men.
Well, think about that, 12%, but that's
fine.
McCain got 4% when he ran. Romney got 8% 6% when he ran.
Because Harry, I think that's not a race thing as much. They're ready. I think that 12% of Black men were ready was ready to trade on patriarchy than racism. That for them, this is what men do. That for that 12% of men, patriarchy is what they prefer to deal with and ride on than racism. That somehow or other, even though racism is a real problem, men ruling is a better deal, and they rather trade on that than racism. So,
but you look
that's problematic. 98% of Black women went what?
Right, but that's a constant, right? So it's not a question of whether Black women did what Black women do every election, but it's the fact that he got more Black men, he got more Latinos in general. Actually, what lost Trump the race this time was that he didn't get enough white men to vote for him. If he would have
but he got 55%. He got 55% white women. That's what you need.
But he got a less percentage of the white men. The white men crossed over to Biden.
Yeah, because educated white men are not going to tolerate a Donald Trump. It was educated white men.
Right, but
educated white men know better.
They know
They
better
know
this
better.
time. They know better this time, but
They knew better that time too. They just didn't count on how bad this was going to be. They knew. They just didn't know how bad this was going to be. They didn't know how much of an embarrassment this was going to be globally. And
the
yeah,
thing is that how do you roll all of that back when Trump has actually expanded the base? How do, as a Republican Party, how do you say, okay, we want to actually get smaller and not have these people vote
listen,
in our party?
I have a sense, but I'm not going to share it because I don't need to give them any help with this. If listen, this is what I know. If they don't do something, they're not gonna have a party that they will recognize, and
Well, I
then
don't think
they
they
will,
have a party now. I
and
think
then they will be pushed out, Harry.
I don't think they have a party now. I think Trump has really never been a Republican. He's a Trump. He's a Trump.
He's never been anything. He's not a
He's,
Democrat. He's not a Republican. He's not
right.
even independent.
Is a
He's
Trump.
like,
It's Trumpism. He has his own party. Trumpism. So, but just like Bernie Sanders, when Bernie Sanders ran as a Democrat, he's not a Democrat. He's an independent socialist, right? So, and Trump just he needed a party, so he picked the Republicans. But
oh no, he knew why he picked the Republican Party. He said this 30 years ago. It's a party full of stupid people that I know I can manipulate.
so, well, right, that's what Bernie's been doing all along.
I don't know what you mean by Bernie has been doing all along. Bernie is not president. He hasn't
No,
been elected. He's only been elected to one thing.
I'm
That's
saying
in
run.
the state of where he's at.
I'm saying running as something, actually putting your ideas out there. A lot of the ideas that actually won this election are Bernie's ideas.
Well, I don't really care.
Right.
Bernie, Bernie is not a crazy guy. I take him over Donald Trump any day of the week. Are you kidding me? No one thought Bernie was stupid. No one said that.
I'm just saying that he needed a party, so he picked the Democrats.
Well,
Trump.
I don't care. He picked a good party. He would have looked like a fool being over there with the Republicans. I'm waiting for Mitt Romney to jump the hell back to Democrats.
He should.
But no, we don't want him. He's the opportunist. You know, he's gonna wait in the wings too. He's gonna wait in the wings because he thinks, listen, Mitt Romney thinks his time is next or whenever. It ain't.
Romney's done.
He's done. Because he's not gonna be able to do what Donald Trump has done. He's just not gonna do it. And the country's not ready to, he's not the uniter. He's not. He's not. So something else is gonna have to come up out of that Democratic Party. I don't know what. And it's a party of old white people. They need to, number one. And then the black people that they do have, they crazy. I mean, Dr. What's his name? HUD guy. Do you think he's gonna have a career in politics after this?
Ben Carson.
You think he's gonna be in anybody's cabinet? He should have been in this cabinet. Like, come on. I'm like, none of these guys, these people are not gonna have jobs. They're not gonna be able to do anything. Just go back into their holes. Even what's his face, little governor boy from what was the former governor, the Bridgegate governor?
Chris Christie.
I saw him on the news. I'm no fan of his, but I saw him on the news yesterday talking about the president needs to concede and turn over information to the Biden camp. And that was probably the first time I've seen him talk as if he knew something about politics in a very long time, because he was being he was making very good rationale sense. It was as if somebody turned the light on. Do you know what I mean? Like he was like, oh, that, I was like, because, the last few times we've seen him, he was like a little crazy, but he seems to be getting back to his normal self. Well, I don't know. I just, I'm just ready for this to be behind us because we have so much to do. So much to do, you know. And I don't want to see, I don't want to see, these people right now we're waiting for these people to we're waiting for this Congress to stop people from losing their homes and their apartments. They could do that this week before they go on break so that people don't have that hanging over their heads. It's hard to go into Thanksgiving with that hanging over your head.
Well, it ought to be simple, right? Pass something for the people and deal with the rest of it in the new Congress. But for now, pass a relief package for the people and for the small businesses, and deal with the other issues about government, the state governments and all that in the next Congress. It should be that simple, but it isn't. It never is.
I was watching all kinds of people talk about this on MSNBC the other day, and they were talking, and they were like, Congress should not go home for break until they fix this. I don't know how in good conscience they could go back to their constituency and enjoy Thanksgiving and knowing that these people are, you know,
Because they're fighting over a bigger package. They should just make it about the people and the small businesses and then deal with the rest of the stuff in the new Congress.
yeah,
Whether that be a fully Democrat Congress or a split Congress. Um, because you still have those Georgia seats,
too.
Senate seats that have to be decided, and they'll be decided in early January.
Yeah.
So, but
But right now,
for now, let's just take care of the people.
I saw this woman, Harry. She said she had never missed a payment on a house or an apartment in 30 some odd years. And she was sitting at her table thinking, how's she going to make this rent coming up? And I was just like, and she was a modest person, you know what I mean? Like she wasn't living in some fancy thing. She just woman with her kids. I
Well,
thought,
here's the
huh?
thing, right? So a lot of these programs that'll help you, you have to actually mess up your credit in order to get help, right? So you have to not make a payment for 2 months.
Yeah. Isn't that the craziest thing, Harry?
Yeah, it's insane.
I remember when I got in trouble with my mortgage. And I went to my mortgage because I was getting divorced. And they were like, well, the order for us you're not behind in your mortgage. Call us when you get behind in your mortgage.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? I was like, I'm trying not to get behind in my mortgage. Like, I don't want to get behind in my mortgage. Like, why can't you help me before we get into trouble?
Yeah. And that's what they do to people, right? So it's a struggle. So people are not buying food to pay their mortgages, and that's just so that they don't mess up their credit. It's these places that are supposed to help. They don't realize once you lose your credit that you've lost. A lot of people live off of credit, so they're losing their value
Yeah.
because they're no longer eligible for credit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so it becomes the, the whole system.
Yeah. It's painful. It is very, very painful. It is very painful. And I'm just, I'm grateful that I that when I had to, give up my house, that I had some place to go, right? And it was challenging to figure out where to go because I had a particular price point. I knew where I needed to be. And I didn't have the best credit, Harry. Like, if you ran a credit check, um, I probably wouldn't be eligible for a lot of things, right? Because having been bankrupt. Um, and so and I would tell people as soon as I go see something, I was like, listen, if you run my credit report, I'm not gonna be able to get this apartment, but I have first month's rent, I have a down payment, I've got good references. I have a job. I have, I have all these things, and it wasn't enough for a lot of the places that for whatever reasons, I fell through. I couldn't do it, or they rented to somebody else, or they, came down to me and somebody else all the time, and they went with somebody else, or um, people had family members that were going to take over a property. So I was like, okay. So when my sorority sister offered me her house, because this is her family's house, I was just grateful. And it's at a rent that I could afford, Harry, that doesn't keep me up at night. So I can't imagine.
Well, just think about how the system works, right? So they go, okay, you have bad credit, so your interest rate is going to be much higher. So your payment is going to be huge. So because you have bad credit, we're going to make this unaffordable for you so that you mess up your credit even worse. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Right? So bad credit actually increases your payment, which you got bad credit because you couldn't pay.
Yeah.
System is screwed up.
Uh-huh.
It's screwed up.
Uh-huh.
They need to have rehabilitation programs for credit that don't punish you, to the point where there's no light at the end of the tunnel. So it's messed up. It's really messed up.
I mean, there are programs out there, but it's hard to find the good ones from the shady ones. Because there's some shady ones out there, Harry.
There are programs.
There are programs out there that'll help you. Um, I know HUD has a couple of places, and and New Haven has been fortunate. They've got a lot of good places around town that will help finance. Help not help finance, help you to understand your finances.
Yeah,
So there are programs out there, but program in the face of, I got to pay my rent right now. I got to pay my lights
right,
and gas and this and that and other thing, you know.
right, and that's the problem. There are programs that'll help you. But you're not gonna see anything, any light for 5 to 7 years in those
Yeah.
programs.
Yeah.
So what about now?
Yeah.
Where am
No.
I supposed to live now? How can I get an apartment now? So, and that's what I mean. There has to be some way, even if it's attached to the program, because you're in this program, you know, you get a good credit score for that. You at least you're eligible to actually live somewhere.
Yeah.
Something else has to be added to these things because it's not working. I see a lot of people who it's not working for.
Yeah. No, I agree, Harry. It really, this country has such a hatred of the poor. It's almost like it's treated like a moral failing
Well,
rather.
it's a punishment. The punishment that
That's
they
what I mean. They treat it like a moral failing, and then and it's punishable, but no one ever talks about. This is why I'm always, when they talk about economic development and they don't talk about good transportation systems, right? Or they talk about economic development and jobs, but they don't talk about good, decent housing connected to that. Like, you cannot talk about one without the other. It makes no sense to like have jobs in a place and people can't get to them on public transportation. Like, that makes no sense to me. Like, how are you going to be a thriving metropolis and people can't get to the jobs? Everybody is not going to have a car. And do we really want everybody to have a car? Well, the environmentalists wouldn't want that because they're looking out for the clean air, the trees, and the da 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 da. And that makes sense. Somebody's got to be concerned about that. Um, the car maker people would love for everybody to have a car because that keeps them in business. And the oil people would love for people to have cars because people need to buy gas and all the things,
yeah,
right?
that's so true, right? So we live in a state, a very progressive state, right? Who claim to want to save the environment and all of the good stuff. right? Now, they could get all of these efficient buses and everything and have routes that go everywhere in order to help our environment and and you know who's part of the environment? We're part of the environment. So
Yes.
it'll help us, right? But we live in a state where it is limited. Only certain people are eligible for certain jobs because and those people are the people who could get to those jobs.
Uh, yep.
So if you can't get to a certain location, it doesn't matter how qualified you are. You can't get that job. Unless you go and buy a car you can't afford and mess up your credit.
Okay, you're right, Harry.
It's insane.
It is. It is. Or build some housing close to where people can have access. But the housing that's built close to people's jobs, Harry, is usually high end housing. You know,
Yes.
they're not building public housing there.
Well, just imagine all the people who work in New Haven. A lot of people can't afford to live in New Haven. So they leave New Haven every night to go to their houses or apartments that are outside of New Haven because you can't afford to live in New Haven.
This is true.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it is.
But we
It's very
care.
true.
We care. We give a lot of lip service to this stuff. But you don't see the policies that are necessary to lift people out of
Mhm.
of the holes that society has put them in a lot of.
As my sister said, San Francisco, you know the problem they're having in San Francisco, Harry. The teachers cannot live. Like they,
Yeah, teachers, waiters, all of those
Harry,
people can't live
you
there.
see how far people and wait, teachers are making like what, $125,000 a year, and they can't pay rent. There's no rent to be paid. There's
There's
nothing
no
for
rent
them.
to be paid, and I think it was an article I saw last year that the average home in San Francisco is over $1 million. So you can't afford. You make 125,000, can't afford to live in the city that you're making a good salary in because they've outpriced you.
Yeah,
Insane.
yeah. And you see the things that people are living in, Harry. These little tiny flats and
Yeah.
these little these closets. I was like, what?
Oh, it's the same thing New York did to everybody. New York City.
Or when I look at Japan, Harry, and you see how they have those efficient little pods you can rent, you can live in a pod. I'm thinking to myself, how in God's that's smaller than prison.
I was looking at it and I'm like, well, you have to be short people.
And thin people.
Yeah, thin, short people. Because I was looking at one of the pods and I'm like,
Like I can't get up there. I can't get in there.
so it's like, what's the requirement for that? 5'2", 100 pounds?
I don't know.
It's
I
like,
saw the. Did you see the one with the one at the airport, Harry? Like if you have to stay over, if you have a long layover or overnight layover, instead of going to a hotel, you rent a pod, and they have there's a shower, there's a bathroom, you know. The only way you could, it's like a little village within the airport. So you get in there. There's a bathroom, there's showers, all those kinds of things. And then you get into this pod that you get to lock yourself in. You have cool air, music, TV, the whole nine. But it's a pod.
it's crazy. I mean, it's almost like I imagine like when we finally are able to travel to Mars, right? That is gonna be like that, where they're gonna put some virtual reality glasses on you, and you're just gonna sleep for 3 years until you get to your destination.
Oh my God, Harry. I'm not ready to go to Mars yet.
Well,
I'm just
when Godzilla shows up, it's time to leave.
time to go. You're right. We'll figure that out. But
We
Godzilla
got
is
to rub
friendly.
elbows with Elon Musk.
The party boy, the party space boy. He wants to have a party in space. Yeah, we got to do that. All right, we got to go. We're on tomorrow, people. Same bat channel, same bat time. I don't think I have a guest tomorrow either. I think I have a guest. Oh no, my guest canceled. So I don't think I have any guests. So yeah, so tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, then we're Thanksgiving bound.
Yeah, then we're gonna
So
eat
so
tofu.
tune in tomorrow. We'll Harry and I'll give you our best Thanksgiving recipes.
Yeah, I was in New Haven. I was in New Haven Friday, and I forgot to get sachi chong.
Oh my God, Harry.
But
That's all we talked about last week.
I might be in. I might be in New Haven tomorrow. I might try to do the show from New Haven
From
tomorrow.
New Haven. All right.
Um, and try to get my sachi chung.
All right. Well,
All
we'll
right.
talk about our favorite recipes tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Bye, Harry. I don't hear us. Okay.
You don't hear the music? There's no music?
I hear it now.
Oh.
Now I hear it. Okay, now I don't. All right, I'm leaving. Maybe guests to jump in tomorrow. Who knows?